Okay, so just going to let it come back again to the beginning so we have a chart to talk about. Okay. Oh, you can go one more. Okay, so when we have these, this is the first time I've ever shown. This is on May 28th, 2019, and I've been working on these for years. Finally, the graph of the color and the sound and the coordination of it from the signs to the zodiac, and the signs to the planet, to the sun and the moon, to the signs, to the colors of aspects. The same cycle of aspects will happen at different speeds between other two planets. Ideally, each planet is like a different instrument. So you could play, I just played both of these on the celestial harp, but the, which was designed to play the zodiac and has 72 strings on it. But this, if you played it on piano, if you played one planet on piano, the harp, boom, ding, you know, or one planet on a xylophone, one part on a guitar, on a saxophone, another part on a trumpet. You're going to have a violin. You're going to have different notes played by different planets. And that would be like each planet's a different instrument. They all play they have 12 signs, 12 themes to play, and they all have 12 colors to express. And they have a relationship to each of the other players in the solar system band. So you're going to have your aspects, a bunch of lines in your chart will have a whole bunch of these patterns, these musical patterns, and you could technically play your chart and play the aspects and play the interrelations of the chart. Now, music is in such a vast area. To just do it mechanically, if you just did moons, it would just be mechanical like this. But if you moved it around and did it in different ways, there's a way this could really open up and be a very unfolding flow of music. So one day, maybe I'll get there. It's coming slowly to be able to take the chart and have a few different ways of playing it and maneuvering it and setting it up so you can see your colors, hear your chart. I always believe that color and sound can heal anything. And using astrology and using it as color and sound, you have your own biases to color and sound. And the whole key of how to heal it, how to reinforce it, how to work with it, how to calm it down, how to build it up, how to go through the phases with it, and how you interact with it. It's all represented without words in the colors and the sound. As you start to realize each note is a sign of the zodiac, oh my goodness. All the things you know with the sign of the zodiac, you know about each note in the musical scale. And all the different colors. Oh, I don't know what this color means. Of course, as soon as you get the color to the sign, you know what the sign means, you know what the color means. It's quite incredible. This is like, well, to me, this is the results of almost 50 years study, 47, 48 years studying. And I'm still studying, and this is leading edge, but it's the first time I've showed these to anyone or done it. I really worked to try and get it together for this class on aspects because we're analyzing words, we're analyzing content, we're looking at the squares and the stresses, but there's a thing happening with the colors and the sounds. That's something else that's going on that, you know, like normal logic, it's red, define red. How's a blind person going to define red? How's a deaf person going to define these notes? Well, the deaf person would be able to use the color, the blind person would be able to use the sound, but still communicate with each other. So it's, I mean, I stayed, when we're doing the cycles, it stayed within the same notes. So when it came around to Aries, if you were at a high note, it would come down. So there's a gap. It sounds like it's a low note because I just stayed within the 12 notes and played it like a circle. And it could have kept going up or kept going down. It could be anywhere on the scales how music's written. So when you're going along this, it does say aspects are waning, waxing and waning. It shows you the aspects. It shows you the aspects. Shows you the signs, which give the initial meaning for any one of these aspects. And it shows up here the sun and the moon on the top, which have the zodiac. In the tropical zodiac, it's the color in the middle. The outside is the constellations, and the inside are the seasons of the year. And that's where the tropical zodiac, the color and the sound is related through. There's sounds, but they wouldn't be as bright or as loud or as noticeable from the stars. There would be a background player piano music going on, but the scale and the sequence is set by this. So it's a simple little thing, just the barcodes and getting the barcodes and making all the notes, writing the music. It took a long time. It took a lot of work. But as I've done this, it extended the texture of my understanding of astrology. My working with my imagination with astrology. If I get to somewhere, I don't know what to say, well, I have a place to go to color, I have a place to go to sound, I have a place to wonder about what this is. So defining a person's character and trying to define and tell them who they are is probably one of the lowest areas of astrology. Really, you're tuning into someone to see how they're living up to their chart or living through their chart, how they're experiencing it. And as the astrologer, you learn more by tuning in and seeing how someone does. And what you're going to, it's not so much about what you're going to say, it's what you notice. And you're really, consultations are really the astrologer giving the opinion, their opinion to the person of how they interpret this. It's not so set. You know, like, well, red is a sign of impulse and go. And we use red for stop signs. Stop. Woo. There's all kinds of ways you can use colors. We wear some colors. We have relations around those colors. We did a class on the colors. Here you've seen the colors. We haven't done anything on sound. This is the beginning of stuff on sounds. But it's really the structure, and it's the phases, like the waxing and the waning. So if we just go through this a little bit, we'll go. Aries, Leo, Aries, Virgo. Then it gets to the full moon, it switches to the Libra, Aries, Scorpio, Aries, Sag, Aries, Capricorn, Aries, Aquarius, Aries, Pisces, Aries. So the waxing and the waning are always, they're always going to be, you'll see the waxing, the first note of Taurus to the next one of the sign. When it gets to Scorpio, it'll be the Scorpio note first. The moon's going to turn around, start coming back to the sun, and it's the moon sign coming back, and the color according it, and the shades of the two signs. You don't see this too much because right here, between red, orange, and orange, when they're shaded, they look almost the same. See it better here. You can see there's an amber and it's shaded. Comes almost yellow-like, but then go to the next one, you see it more clearly. Yeah, so some of them, when you get down to, these are like 39% or something like this. When you get down to the color proportion on the shaded part, sometimes a couple of signs, they look almost the same. It's hard to tell the difference between red, orange, and orange if your eyesight's not totally clear on it. Same way with the blues, but just depends where your eyesight is. But this puts a shade, it puts a feel to each phase of the moon. But there's a two-colored line. You see the orange, red-orange line from Taurus, and you see the yellow line from Leo coming in. There's a mood for every aspect. Again, when we're working with a chart, it's on another level. It's not the level that we've worked to up till now. But the level that we're preparing to be able to take imagination and wonder things and see themes, see colors, see different things coming in through our progressions and through development of our soul comes in. We only have progressions measures how much your soul lives in this life, so that by the time you've lived this life, you're not going back to the same life again and again and get caught in this endless loop of the same life. You've experienced some things, you've grown, the soul's grown and moves on to the next one. And it's sometimes some of these things are expressed better in the flowing of sound and the flowing of color. And a color expresses things better than the word. Red is a word. Seeing color and running into something, someone's wearing all red, or you're in a room that's all red. Wow, it's so different than, I had a party once and I had one room was all dark blue and dark colors. Another room was all reds and brights. And everybody was dancing around and jumping in the other room. There's a few people sitting mellow in the dark room. Like, it was just listening to some blues music. It was, they just sing quietly. It was really, it just happened. Other than the color, the rooms were about the same. So we're always working with colors. The old Tibetan mandalas, the old Indian mandalas, they're all color-based. Usually they would have the red at the top for the Aries, and they'd have the four basic colors, and then they build up 8 sections, and they build up, and they build up these elaborate patterns that work around it using color, just like a chart, like sections of a chart. But so the color and the astrology were, and the sound, these were all healing modes that were, they've always been together, but the literacy around it and the ability to use it, that knowledge, maybe it was there sometime in the distant past. Maybe it's just coming together now. Music's always been there. Color's always been there. But this is a new level of literacy, mixing with astrology, mixing it with your horoscope, with your nature, and looking like this and seeing you have a predisposition to certain colors. Some you wear, some you could have around you, some you would never wear. Some things you can't stand. It's totally telling you things about your horoscope. Do you have a color you hate? Do you have a color you love? Whoa, you got some aspects here going on. What happens when you get exposed for a color you hate for a long time, or you dislike for a long time? It's always there. How will it be affecting your mood and your coloring? Would it be a healing thing? It could be. Would it be a comfortable thing? Possibly not. Because we have the wholeness with really all the colors and all the sounds at once in our being. We just, in our lifetime, we've chosen certain colors. I'll take more of this color, that color. I'll take more of these sounds, that sounds. I'll take more of this. And we've chosen the DNA of our horoscope. So we're measuring the light coming from the sun and how it comes down to the earth. As the earth's moving around the solar system, we're seeing the zodiac, we're watching the zodiac, watching the color, we're experiencing this around the year. It's without the sun, there's no light, there's no color. We have winter, everything's white. Fortunately, there's evergreen trees. There's still some colors that survive across it, but mostly it's white and gets clear, no color. That's why in these graphs there's no white or black, because white and black are not technically colors. So we went through this. The fire signs are the red, yellow, blue signs. Aries, Leo, and Sag. The air signs are the orange, green, and purple signs. And the earth and water signs are in between. Red, orange is Taurus. Orange, yellow is Cancer. Yellow, green is Virgo. Green, blue is the aqua or teal color of Scorpio. Blue, purple for Capricorn, indigo, and purple to red or burgundy for Pisces. Or crimson or burgundy, they have this bluish red. So these are the cycles of the colors, and they just get added in. It's another element. So yeah, I think like